James here. Today in this video we're going to be installing 2 double telescopic sliding cavity doors into this wall behind us. Basically we're going to be knocking out this whole wall and reconfiguring this front entry so that these 2 cavity sliders end up sitting on each side of the wall, and then we've got this big head unit that'll join the 2 together and have our 4 doors that slide in to close this whole wall. Now we've gone up and had a look in the roof. The wall's non-load bearing, so we can take that out completely. So what you see in the video is all the tools, all the tips and all the tricks you need to install something like this. The front entry is a bit of a disaster. I'll take you in and show you. You basically got a wall straight here as you walk in, some sort of stained glass window, which is quite weird. We're going to remove all that and remove the wall behind it. So you just got like a little hallway here and now sliding doors on this side. So we're going to pull all this out, pull that back wall out that's there in the entry, and then just make room for basically getting this frame built and installed. We're going to go on with the assembly of all these carcasses, put them together with the track and the rollers, get it all assembled so that we can work out the sizes and build our framing and secure it in a position. With your cavity kits, with your hardware, you'll get your box and you'll see a little QR code that you can scan there, and that will take you to the website that may show you some more information about the product that you're actually installing. Now, depending on your situation with the installation, you can actually get these tracks made full length like I have here to go across the whole opening, or if you are tight for space, you could actually get the track made in half. So you've got one carcass on this side with half a track, one carcass on that side with half a track, and then join the 2 together in the middle. Now just going to remove some of these packing blocks. The way this perforated track works, that slides in between this outside jam and the inside aluminium. So this little lip here will slide in and lock down like that. Now let's take a look at some of the other hardware. Basically this large guide here gets fixed onto the bottom of the cavity unit. This smaller guide here actually slides into this bit of aluminium frame, like so. And then this guide here gets fixed to the side of the door, and that acts as a guide for the second door to slide through. These separate rollers, we're going to put these into the track now before we actually install everything together. And then these are the little pull guides that go together on the tops and the bottoms of the doors to pull each door together out of the tracks. And again, you've got pre-routed spots in the tops of your door for these so that these little bolts can go in. And these bolts then get screwed into each roller. But what we also have to do now is insert the other rollers into the track. It's very important to put those in before, obviously, this track's assembled into the cavity units. So one will go in the track behind the soft closer that's already installed. And then on this side where there's no soft close, we'll have 2 going in. To screw the cavities together, you want the countersunk head screws. The ones that are in the packet, the pan heads, they're what attach the hardware to the top of the door. Okay, next up we're going to be installing some of the door hardware. But before you do this, I recommend going to Premium Sliders website and downloading one of the installation guides for the type of door that you've got. Now this is obviously the telescopic sliding door. So there's measurements that have to be quite precise for some of these stoppers in regards to pulling the other doors out and how to attach some of these guides and rollers. So when you download it, it'll look something like this. Basically it steps you through all the hardware that we just discussed. Pick your type of door, whether you got a 2 telescopic, or you got a 4 doors, 3 doors. We go through the track installation. We just did that a second ago. And then this is where it gets into some of the details that you need to know. Where these stoppers go on top of the door. So this one needs to be 26 millimeters back from the edge of the door. These are pre-routed into the door already with the system that we've got. So we're just installing those into those routed holes. And then where it gets pretty interesting is down in this section here, where it shows you how it all goes together. So where to install that guide on the bottom of the track, how these doors overlap, how the stops work, and yeah, where to put your stoppers, and all the details you need basically to set this up. And then it just goes through how to plumb and level it. So we'll go through all these details now in more detail. If you've had the doors pre-made in the factory, you'll see that there's a groove routed into the bottom of the door, and that just basically allows the door to slide along that track and to keep the guide in place. And then the same thing goes for the top of the door. If they've been made in the factory, you've got these pre-routed out sections that these mechanisms screw into to attach to the top of the rollers. So we'll mark all that out now and screw everything into place. Use the pan head screws. Now the trick with this is to make sure that the latch for both of these are facing the same way, either down or up. You don't want them opposite. So this guide here is now going to screw onto the end of the door like such, so that when that's in the cavity here, that guide will be sitting out this side of the door, allowing the leading door to slide past it, and then they'll all pull out together with those stops that are designed to latch over at the top of the door. As per the installation guide, this one's 24 millimeters back from the edge. The next stage is to set up these little stoppers on top of the door. Now we put these in as per the guide. Now you need to determine which is the leading door, which is going to come out first, and then which is the trailing door. So the one that I'm putting on now is the leading door, the first door. So according to the manual, this one gets fitted 26 millimeters back from the front edge. The reason we don't need to put a stopper in this top track here is because that soft close has a predetermined stop that's already set here in the factory. It's only those two loose runners in the bottom track that we need to put that stopper in for. You'll see in the center of the track there's these two little clips here. You can take those out, clip those back in later, and this is where our stop's going to slide in. So basically all I need to do is just loosen this screw off a little bit, slide that in, and then that allows that to slide over that little faceplate there. That'll be where we adjust our stopper to stop that secondary door coming through. And now lastly, this is the overlap detail. So this one will be going flush back of the door here, so that when the next door comes along, it'll be sitting below it down here, and that will cause a 100mm lap, which will pick up something else down below, our guide, but this allows that to slide back and lock in. Now that our doors are prepped, the next thing is to put these cavity units in. Now, one thing to consider before putting them in place is your floor coverings. What we're putting down here is they're having a new timber floor go down, and this is 14mm thick. So I've cut a couple of packers that are going to go under each cavity, and that way I'll just pack that up enough so that when the floor goes in, the doors and the frame and everything are sitting up at the right height. And while this is laying down, I'm going to take advantage of it and drill out the bottom track. I'm going to put 2 holes in through the base of that aluminium so that when we stand this up, I've got something to fix the base down to this concrete slab. Now it's a matter of getting these screws in the top, middle and bottom, packing this jam so that it's plumb, and then securing this bottom off here down through the bottom track into the concrete. Also going to fix a couple of screws up through the head into a couple of battens there, but the main support's going to come really from the 2 cavities being secured off on each side and down to the floor. Now the other thing is you want to have a straight line between both sides of the cavities so that they're in line as well. Test it out. It's nice and secure. Now to install the guides on each side, you may have to remove the screw that's already in the bottom of the track if it's in the way. And then this guide, there's a lip that will just slide under the side of the flange there. Push that through, and then work out your distance of where you want that to sit. For mine, I'll just be keeping that 5mm back from the edge. All right, now that that's all in and secured and level and plumb, we'll put our door guides on. The next step is to put these roller hangers on so that we can secure the doors. So I'll put those up there now, just screw them into each roller right across the track, and then I'll hang the doors. I've got all the roller hangers in. I've got some packers below where I think the door's going to sit roughly for height. The more you can pack it close to the height that you need the door, the easier it's going to be for you. Starting with the secondary door first, the door that's going to go into the cavity, and then I'll put the lead door on after that. Now it's time to do the final adjustments, not final adjustments, but some adjustments on the door. You can see these both come out here in line. That soft close kicks in and then it stops, that's automatically adjusted, but that needs to be brought across to the center of this jam. So in order to do that, there's 2 screws in the stopper up here. I undo that and just slide it across. And then likewise for my stop on this other door that I put in loose, once I get this to the center, then I can slide that back to where the last roller is, and that'll stop that door from coming all the way forward. All right, there we go. All in and adjusted. So you're very happy with how that come out. Very smooth. now the final thing that we're going to do is our cornice on both sides of the top there, which will come down flush with the top of the track. Should give it a nice detail. And then our final coat of plasterboard so that we can sand and get ready for paint. There'll be a few other bits and pieces like some door hardware and thing to finish off, but that's now getting pretty close to being completed. I'll show you the difference this has made opening up this hallway. You can see here, you're not walking into that wall that was here originally, and then it went into that archway into the lounge room. Now it creates more of a flow all the way through this area. And the doors themselves, once you shut that off to the lounge room, you can see that that actually just creates a nice hallway straight through. It just opens the place up. Okay, so that's it for the installation of the doors on my end. What I'd recommend doing is going to the Premium Sliding Doors website, downloading the installation manual for these and using that in conjunction with this video so you can see how some of that hardware goes together. So from here I'll get the clients to send us some videos of all this sanded, painted, skirtings and bits and pieces on. Thanks for watching the video guys, hope you enjoyed it. I'll catch you next time.